cinemashogun here, and if you have not been paying attention to this little mystery illness in China, maybe now is the time to start paying attention. Because now it is in America. At least that's what they're saying. In fact, when I woke up this morning, all we knew was that this sickness, this illness, was in Ohio and in Massachusetts. Over the last few hours, over a dozen states have come forward saying that they're experiencing outbreaks. They're experiencing a uptick in this mystery pneumonia, this white lung syndrome is what they're calling it. Alabama, California, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, New Mexico, Puerto Rico, Tennessee, Texas, and New York now join Ohio and Massachusetts in reporting this uptick of this new mystery illness. Now, why do I call it a mystery illness? Well, that's what they're calling it. Some people are calling it different things, but from what they're saying, this is a little different. That certain antibiotics aren't really working on it. They don't know how and why this thing is spreading so fast. At least this is what they're saying. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you what's going on around the world right now. Now, along with the states that I just named, Louisiana and South Carolina, they're reporting that they believe something's going on as well, but they have not come out and just said it, that, oh, this little illness is spreading around our areas too. But just like that, folks, woke up this morning, we knew it was in Ohio, Massachusetts. Now it's basically all over America. So the big question is, how is the government going to react? Earlier today, senators were urging Joe Biden to shut down all travel from China. You don't do that for a seasonal flu. So why they're already calling for travel bans? It kind of shows you that at least someone is taking this very seriously. In fact, some areas in America, people have been sending me pictures. People have been writing to me over the past couple of days since I've reported on this. Some places in America, you might not experience this in an area near you, depending on where you live, but in some places, they're already putting up the plexiglass at the grocery stores. They're already putting up the signs to stand 6 feet apart in line. Now, I don't know what's going to come of this. 2 or 3 weeks from now, we may be talking about something else. We may never think of this again. Or 2 or 3 months from now, we could be heading into new lockdowns. We never know. We don't know. Personally, where I'm leaning is I believe that there's a strong possibility that we will see them implement some soft restrictions. I don't want to believe that we would see them go so far as they did last time. I would like to believe that people wouldn't allow that to happen again, but we know they would. But I'm thinking at the very least, since this is mainly affecting kids, that depending on where you live, depending on the school system, I do believe this will affect kids going forward. Maybe you will see a return to virtual learning. Some kids are still virtual learning, so it may not affect you that much, but certain areas, I do think we're going to see them implement some light restrictions. Now, that's just me being optimistic. Me being pessimistic would say, hey, They may be trying to pull a fast one again and just go ahead and do a rerun of the beer bug, But I don't want to think that, and it's really early on right now to say, but if I were to call it, if I were to give you a concrete opinion about what I think is going to happen, that would be it. At the very least, I do think this is going to affect some school systems, and it may affect other things as well. Only time will tell. But before I go any further, make sure you guys hit that like button. We got to start getting those likes up. If you want to support the channel, my Cash App is in the pinned comment below. I'm going to roll this news clip really quickly. Let's see what the news has to say, and then I'll be back with more thoughts as well.
You probably see the reports of respiratory infections among children in China spiking to alarming heights. That then triggering frightening flashbacks for some parents here in the U.S., with the worry being that the surge of sickness flooding Chinese hospitals is being driven by this new virus that could launch another global pandemic like COVID. But China is insisting no. It's just an overlap of common viruses that normally hit kids this time every year. And the World Health Organization agrees with that. CDC Director Mandy Cohen tempered fears as well, saying there's no evidence of a new pathogen that could threaten the U.S. But infections are rising among some children in certain states. Massachusetts is now joining Ohio, reporting a spike in cases of child pneumonia. It's referred to as white lung syndrome, and health officials say we could be seeing more of it.
I wouldn't be surprised is that you're going to see outbreaks throughout the country. It's the time of year. Rather than a cause for concern, it's something to allow us to remember that we do have ability to try to decrease the likelihood of some of the infections.
Now, despite these reassurances from experts, we have seen Republican Senator Marco Rubio calling for an immediate travel ban between the U.S. and China until more is known. For more on all of this, let's go to Dr. William Schaffner, who's a professor of infectious disease at Vanderbilt University. What type of context would you put all of this in, Doctor? Is it something we should be worried about, worried enough to talk about travel restrictions and the like, or do you think about it another way?
Well, Connell, I can tell you right away that this is not related to anything like a pandemic because, as Dr. Cohen at the CDC and the World Health Organization have said, there's no new virus out there. This is common, simple respiratory viruses that exist all around the world and have for millennia, and they increase in the winter season. That's what happens. And yes, they often disproportionately affect children because children are now back in school. They're meeting each other, going to birthday parties, and as you know, they're the great distributors of these viruses amongst themselves, and then they can bring them home to mom and dad.
Why does everyone keep calling it white lung syndrome or illness? I mean, where's that coming from? I mean, it doesn't have a great sound to it, obviously, and I think people, you'll see headlines about that and start to think something else. I mean, what does that mean to you? We had the story in Ohio last night, and what would you tell us about it?
Well, by white lung, and it's a term for just the reasons you mentioned, it's scary, that I don't like. It just means that when you take an X-ray, part of your lung, which usually appears black on the X-ray, is got white on it. That means there's an infection in that part of the lung. That's all that means.
What would you tell parents? Yes. What advice, if any, would you give to them about keeping their children safe? I mean, this is treatable, if someone is worried about it, it's treatable, right? So what would you tell parents?
The vast majority of these children do very, very well if they get good medical care. But on the prevention side, remember, influenza vaccine is recommended not only for adults, but for all children. Remember that new COVID updated vaccine? That's also recommended for children. Good hand hygiene. Try to keep your children away from others who are coughing and sneezing. Good luck with that. And if your child happens to get sick, don't send them to school. They'll just spread it to others.
Common sense from Dr. Schaffner tonight. We could all use some more of that. Thanks for putting all of this in context. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Now, the media and the experts, they're being wishy-washy with this one. They're downplaying it, but at the same time, this story is getting so much news coverage. If this was nothing, then they wouldn't even be talking about it. They're talking about it for a reason. Now, when you see them downplay this, or when you see them say it's nothing to worry about, or this isn't no big deal, or this isn't like the last one, yada, 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 I want you to keep in mind that they were saying the same things in the early days of the beer bug. As I reported to you all earlier, there are senators trying to get Joe Biden to shut down travel from China. Now, back in the early days of the beer bug, they were trying to shut down travel. I remember Donald Trump was trying to put a travel ban from China. Everyone said it was racist. Everyone acted as if it was crazy. How can you stop travel from China? People were saying, oh, this thing ain't that bad. You don't got to stop the travel. That's racist. That's bad. What do you do? What do you hate Chinese people? That's what people were saying. 2 or 3 months later, all travel was banned. The whole entire world was shut down. I'm telling you right now, these things change very quickly. The way the media covers things, it changes very quickly. They will put a spin, they will craft a new narrative. Very quickly, you will see them go from one day saying, hey, it's nothing to worry about, to the next day, oh my God, this is the end of the world. You're all going to die. You need to go get this medicine. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to stay home, blah, 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 blah. It happens that quickly. You have to really tap in and remember the early days of the beer bug. They downplayed it as it spread throughout the world, supposedly, allegedly, right? They were called racist for possibly stopping travel. 2 weeks later, after they said it was crazy to put a travel ban on China, 2 weeks later, they were calling people grandma killers for walking around the park. That's how quickly things change. They change radically as well. There's no reason. These people aren't trying to reason with you. All of these people are irrational. The majority of our society is irrational. And they will change and switch up at a drop of a dime, folks. At a drop of a freaking dime. Your reality today might not be your reality tomorrow. So when we see them talking about this and covering this one way today, just know that tomorrow, the next day, next week, it can be a whole different spin. And we could be sent through another whirlwind like we were a couple of years ago. So just keep that in mind. Because this stuff, it changes quickly. Remember, people were saying, we would never get the jab. We'll never get the jab. And then a different president was elected, and then all of a sudden they started preaching about how everyone should get the jab. Just keep in mind, folks, it was not that long ago. And as we watch this play out, remember how the last one played out. So this one does not play out the same way. Let me know your thoughts, though, down in the comments below. If you want to support the channel directly, you could do so via Cash App. I will have my Cash App pinned in the pinned comments of this video. Or you can donate to the channel via Super Thanks. Or you can support the channel for free by sharing this video on social media, sharing this video with friends and family, subscribing, ringing that notification bell, and all of that good stuff. But with that being said, I'll talk to you all soon in the next video.